Hi everyone, and congratulations to this year's Foreign Language Honor Society inductees. My name is Danielle Watkins. I graduated from Corinth in 2012. I was my class's valedictorian and an alumni of Foreign Language Honor Society. I then attended Elmira College, which I just graduated from in 2016. And then I spent the past 6 months living in Barcelona, traveling to 13 new countries and meeting people from all over the world. Now, if you're thinking, wow, that escalated pretty quickly, you're right. I still can't believe this is happening sometimes. But when Senora Wells asked me to speak at this year's inductions, I realized that this adventure has been a long time coming, and I owe much of what I've been able to accomplish both to Corinth and to Foreign Language Honor Society for sparking my interest in traveling and giving me the initial skills necessary to make my dreams a reality. So, let's go back to where it all started. I attended the foreign language trip when I was a junior in high school. We visited Paris, France, Madrid, Spain, and Toledo, Spain. Needless to say, I caught the travel bug during this week. For me, it made all of these places you learn about in history and geography classes real, like you can actually go to them. And I wanted to see them all. That's when I knew for sure. So I worked really hard and I was able to graduate as my class's valedictorian in 2012. I was awarded the valedictorian scholarship, which is the full tuition scholarship to Elmira College. One really great thing about Elmira is that they offer travel abroad trips, so students can earn college credit for going on trips that are typically 6 weeks long during our third term. They pay for the trip themselves, but it's really great because while you're gone, you're not on campus, so you get the cost of room and board off of the cost of the trip, so it actually comes out to be pretty affordable. So my sophomore year, I chose to go to South Africa. It was a once-in-a-lifetime trip paired with earning college credit, the best of both worlds. We started in northern capitals of Pretoria and Johannesburg and worked our way down to southern Cape Town. We had 3 days worth of safaris within our first week there. I was lucky enough to see all of the big 5 animals: lion, leopard, elephant, rhinoceros, and water buffalo. The great thing about an extended trip is that it needs more time to actually immerse yourself in a new culture. We spent 4 days living in huts along the Indian Ocean. One day we went through a traditional experience where they painted our faces, wrapped our hair, and we harvested food to make our own lunch. We also visited an elementary school full of kids that were just as fascinated to meet us as we were to meet them. My class title was People and Places of Africa, and I earned 6 sociology credits. We kept a journal the whole time we were there, which was graded at the end of the trip, plus we had to write a paper on one interesting concept or question raised during our 6 weeks abroad. I honestly can't remember what I wrote about, but I can tell you the most interesting thing I did was ride an ostrich.
Go! Bravo, guys!
The South Africa trip really reignited my love for traveling and even inspired me to switch my major to international business. My major required me to do an internship, either with an international company within the United States or to travel abroad for an internship. This is when I learned about the Atlantis internship. I was fortunate enough to work for the Atlantis Hotel in Nassau, Bahamas. It was a 7-week internship, and it was my first time living abroad on my own. I received internship credit as well as experience in marketing, finance, and hospitality. The professional side was very interesting. I got to meet and work with top-level managers and CEOs of the Atlantis company. And I did get to have some fun, too. I worked with the Marine and Water Park Department for a week, so I was able to swim with the dolphins, test the water slides, and see where they rehabilitate sea turtles. Most importantly, this was my first long-term experience living in a different culture, meeting different people, and trying new things. My favorite thing I got to do in the Bahamas was go shark diving. I went scuba diving in the open ocean while trained professionals fed the sharks. And now, if someone could please watch my mother to make sure she doesn't have a heart attack, I'd like to show you a video from my dive. do you want to be when you grow up? For as long as I can remember, I've been unable to answer this question. I still can't fit myself into a category, one profession, or a specific box. And it's not because I'm uninterested in my options, but because I can see myself fitting into so many different boxes, and I can't seem to choose just one. This uncertainty is really hard for some to understand, and it used to stress me out a lot, but I've come to realize that it's been my saving grace and has actually led me exactly where I want to be. So I graduated from Elmira College. All of my friends were looking for jobs and careers, but my heart just kept coming back to traveling. So I chose an alternative option and decided to become an au pair. An au pair is someone, typically from a different country, who lives with a family, helps take care of their kids, and usually teaches the kids a different language, in exchange for a place to live, food, and a weekly allowance. I lived with a family with twin 7-year-old girls, Sara and Maria. The biggest part is childcare. The family trusts you to live in their house and keep their kids safe. But then you get to live in another country and experience their culture, as well as share your culture and language with them. For example, I cooked Thanksgiving dinner for my host family and got to share my favorite holiday with them. Plus, there's the opportunity to travel in your free time when you're an au pair. I started by exploring Barcelona, the beautiful city I've called home for the past 6 months. I've made plenty of au pair friends since I've been here. There's countless online groups, meetups, and networks of people just like you in the area. Most importantly, living in Spain has allowed me to practice my Spanish. I took a few Spanish classes here and there in college, but the last time I was speaking Spanish every day was in high school. When I first got here, my Spanish was not up to par, but I'm happy to report that it has improved. One of the best ways to learn a language is to completely immerse yourself in it. Apart from exploring Barcelona, I took several trips to other countries. Some were 1 to 2 week long trips, some for just a weekend, and some even for just a day. Like my trip to Andorra, which was just a 2-hour bus ride away. I think it's pretty funny that you can drive 2 hours in Europe and be in a different country, but if you drive 2 hours from Corinth, you're still stuck somewhere in New York. The greatest thing about Europe is that once you're here, traveling is extremely easy. Traveling to another country is as common here as it is for us to travel to a different state in the U.S. It's also relatively inexpensive. A hostel, which is a budget hotel where you dorm with anywhere from 4 to 20 people in one room, can cost as low as $10 a night. Transportation-wise, a 15-hour bus ride through Slovenia, Austria, the Czech Republic, and Germany costs $30. A round-trip flight to Belgium for a week costs $40. And a round-trip flight to London for a weekend costs $50. I was able to see all of the main sites in London in just 2 days. Westminster Abbey, Big Ben, the London Eye, Buckingham Palace. Although I still believe the best way to explore a city is to stay for a longer period of time, my London trip taught me that you can accomplish just as much in about half the time if you need to. Berlin has been my favorite city to travel to, so much so that I've actually visited twice. Berlin is where I discovered free walking tours, which are offered in most major cities in Europe. It's a great way to familiarize yourself with a new place, see the main sights, and learn some history from someone who actually lives there. Plus, the whole free thing is pretty great too. Apart from the history in Berlin, the people here are fascinating also. Their outlook on life, people, and humanity are inspiring in ways I can't even explain. Amsterdam was another city I found very interesting and different. The canals all through the city, the skinny houses, and the incredible amount of bikes everywhere, and I mean everywhere. Visiting the Anne Frank house was also one of the most powerful experiences I've ever had. My trips to Berlin and Amsterdam taught me that it's still cool to visit museums and learn a country's history, even if you're not in school anymore and no one's forcing you to. My trip to Portugal taught me how to travel alone, like completely alone. I actually prefer to travel alone on short trips than with others. You get to go at your own pace and see everything you want to see. If you get lost or take a wrong metro, no one has to know you made a mistake. And if you want to eat gelato for every meal of the day, no one can tell you otherwise. But traveling with others has its perks too. I made a really great au pair friend who was from Slovenia. Since I wasn't able to go home for Christmas, she invited me to spend it with her and her family. Before moving to Europe, I couldn't have told you where Slovenia was located on a map. 3 months in, and I was exploring a country I'd never expected to visit with a new, lifelong friend. Which leads me to the biggest lesson I've learned since being over here in Europe. I once asked my host mom why she decided to have an au pair, and her answer has really stuck with me. She said she wants her daughters to meet twice as many people and have twice as many opportunities than she ever had, and the best way for them to do that is by learning another language. It got me thinking, not only do I want that for my future children, but I want that for myself also. So I made the decision to continue practicing my Spanish, not just so I can survive over here in Spain, but so that I can double my possible experiences for the future. So I did what any normal foreign language honor society alumni might do, and asked my mom to mail over my Spanish notes, my high school Spanish notes. Look at that, still color-coded and everything. Thank you so much, Senora Wells. They have been a lifesaver. I'm so serious. Hang on to these. Anyway, it's pretty cool to think that as you're watching this, I'll be in Madrid, one day away from catching my flight back to Little Corinth, New York. Madrid, of all places, too, being one of the cities that inspired me to follow my ambitions to travel. 5 years later, and it's all come full circle. I encourage you inductees to let your minds run wild with all the great things you can accomplish 5 years from this day. And I promise you that as long as foreign language is involved, the things you do will be twice as awesome. So congratulations again, and to everyone, thank you so much for virtually having me. Bye. Girls, can you say hi to my friends in New York?
Hi.
Hi. What do we say to them? What new word did we learn today?
Congratulations.
Congratulations, everybody. Bye.
Bye.